Welcome back, everyone. I'm Jason and you're watching Jason Jensen Trains. In today's episode, we are starting a very large kit from Fos Scale Models. It was a limited edition kit, and the kit actually has, I believe, 6 structures in it. We're going to start with the largest one in the kit, the main structure. So we have a lot to cover today, so let's get to it. Okay, so let's get started on Atlas Gorge from Fos Scale Models. And here is their website. This was their large limited edition kit for 2020. And every year they put out a kit, and it's limited edition, and every year it sells out and then it is gone. It is impossible to get. So this was the kit for 2020. I believe it has 6 structures. Here are all of the structures in the kit, and you can see more photos on the website. And then all of the structures can be put together to create an entire scene. And like I said, you can see the entire finished diorama on the website. Well, today we're going to start on the main structure right here. So we need to get all of our pieces together, and this sheet right here tells you all the pieces that you need to build the main structure. And then it shows you where the bracing goes and all of the corner trim. Now the great thing for me is that I don't have to build the back of this structure, which gives me a lot of walls for kit bashing. And I'm even considering taking the back section of this and, flipping those walls forward and having it next to it. We'll see. That's a possibility. Okay, so I'm finding all of the wall pieces that I need based off of this is D. And we are building from here to here. We're leaving that off for now. So I'm just matching up. Everything is numbered, and then everything is numbered on this sheet. So we're just matching them up. For instance, number 4 is right there, and that's the side of the structure. So here, the other side is 6, and 6 is right here. So we're just finding where all the pieces are and sort of how they fit together. And then once we get them all cut out and laid out, we can then start to brace them. Real quick, don't forget the basics of kit building. You'll see there's little tabs from where I cut it out. Maybe you can't see them, but they're raised a little bit. So just take your file. I use a long flat file. Sometimes I think we get into a hurry and we're excited to build a kit, and we forget the basic steps that need to be taken so that it fits together properly. Steps like this really pay off when you go to assemble the structure. Okay, so my walls are all braced. I even lifted a bunch of the clapboard. And I simply did that with a straight razor, where you just simply go under one of the boards and lift it up a little bit. Now we're going to stain our walls and our corner trim and the trim that goes across the top, and we're going to play around with these new stains from Best. And I'm going to mix medium cherry brown and aged barnwood. So we're going to start with medium cherry brown. Now we'll take the aged barnwood. We're going to pour a little bit of that in there too. Now I'm just guessing. You saw it was more of the cherry brown and just a little bit of the barnwood. Now, okay, not bad. I'm actually going to add a little bit more of the aged barnwood. So I would say now we're at 50-50. I'm going to thin it just a little bit. That is what I love about these colors from Best. They're very rich, very vibrant. So a lot of times you're probably going to want to add a little bit of the alcohol to them just to thin them out, and it'll make them last longer. I'm now going over the back of some of the walls just because they were warping just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to take a shader from Ammo, Starship Filth, a few little drops. Let's add maybe Ash Black, 2 drops. I'm just dipping my brush in water. Okay, so we have a really thin wash, and now I'm just going to go along the bottom. Okay, I love the way this is turning out. I don't know if you're able to see all the variation in the stains. Okay, next I think I'm going to do some more experimenting. And let's use another shader called Dirt. So you can see there's not much, just a little bit. Actually, I might do some more to give myself enough of a wash with it. Okay. I'm just putting some water in there. Okay, now we're just going to do some individual boards. Let's focus on the front and not so much maybe the sides. Now I'm going to take Gray Sky. It's a light gray. And we're going to dry brush these walls. Okay, I'm actually going to use a fan brush. And it's really soft. So now I am taking, it's called Old Rust. Any dark brown will work. And I'm going along the bottom, and it makes it look like the wood at the bottom is starting to rot. It's fine little dots. Okay, since we're having so much fun with these walls and experimenting, let's take murky brown I'm just going along the bottom. Now I'm cutting the signs out, but I want to leave a thin white line around each one. So I've jumped ahead and assembled the walls, and I don't recommend this because in the instructions you're supposed to put trim, 16th inch trim around the doorway and around the doorway here, and then laser cut doors go in there, and there's a laser cut door that goes up here too. It's much easier to do that when this is flat. It's a little harder to do now that it's assembled, but it is doable. The back is just black mat board, and you can see I added a bracing along the top and along the bottom, and then on both sides of the tower. Let me go over the signs with you. The signs, obviously, in the kit, they are black and white. And what I did was I put a wash. I used iced coffee and added a lot of water to it. It's mostly water, just a little bit of paint. And then I just put that wash over the signs. And what that does is it tones down the black, and then it gives the white an off-white look. The roof is 2 pieces that I've already glued together. Has a really nice trim. So I painted all the trim on the underside and the edges with light avocado. Now I'm going to use murky brown. So I did the same thing on the green trim around the top on the structure. Okay, so I'm using the desert sand. And just simply dry brushing the underside of that. Hopefully you can see the detail on there. Very nice. All right, now we'll start to build up the rooftops. I wanted to mention quick, as I'm cutting out the pieces to build the rooftop, that there are a lot of pieces within large pieces on these sheets, so you have to be careful. So cut out your inner pieces first, put those back in the box, then cut out your large piece that you need. Just make sure not to lose the little pieces. So I've decided to work on this little pop-out area that goes right here. So I glued the two walls together, and it's supposed to be just boards. And I've decided to put shingles on it. And that will go right there. Okay, so I'm just going to glue the shingles on it. It's nice because I'll just follow the lines that are on there, and then I'll flip it over and cut out the door and cut out the window. Okay, I've got the little section done, and now I'm just going to simply dry brush it. So I took my knife and I lifted some of the individual shingles a little bit, and now I'm just going over it, dry brushing it. So as you can see, I've gotten quite a bit done. I didn't show how I did all of this because I have videos on my channel dedicated to rusting corrugated metal, using construction paper for tar paper roof. I have a video on rusting detail castings, so be sure to check out those other videos on my channel. And this was all done with stains. This structure here, aged barnwood, and the small structure on the end, a little pop out, was murky brown. Now, when I applied the aged barnwood to this area, I then, with a separate brush, dipped it into the murky brown and just did some streaking on it. Then along the bottom of it, I used Starship Filth and just added some water to it. All of the rust that's on here was done with Ammo by MIG product. And it's really just these three colors: old rust, dark rust, and medium rust. And then I used a little bit of the pigments, medium rust and light rust. Before we get started on the roof, I wanted to point out that the corners have a little bit of a gap. And I believe they did this on purpose, and it does mention this in the instructions. That way, if your roof is a little crooked or off just a little bit, it allows a little bit of flexibility with the cards, the roof cards. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to start by doing a flat piece or straight piece along the bottom, and then we'll go up. I suppose you could take one and start by putting it upside down, and then take your next one and put it like that. I don't want to waste any with the diamond shape on it, so I'm using a piece from the edge of the sheet that has all the shingles on it, and I just cut one to fit right there. Now we're going to go all the way to the corner to fill that gap. Now, a neat trick that they mention in the instructions is to take some gray markers and go over some of the shingles. You should do it before you apply them, but I forgot, so I'm just gonna do some of them now. I'll hold this up to the camera as soon as I get some done. And then after we're all done, we'll take some pigments and brush them on, and then we'll also do some dry brushing. Okay, that section is done. Now when the shingles are all on, we'll run a cap along that top edge and then a straight piece down the corners. So don't be intimidated by doing these type of shingles. It is time consuming, but it's really pretty easy. Sometimes it's a psychological thing where we tell ourselves that this is going to be hard, it's going to take a long time, so we put it off. And if you just tell yourself that it's easy, there's no problem in doing it, and just get it done, it goes fairly quick. You'll be surprised. So I'll go ahead and finish the rest of this, and then I'll come back and show you how we'll run straight pieces along the edges and our corners. So I took a pen, a black fine line pen, and drew some lines on the roof. Now I'll take my light avocado and paint that, and then I'll have to go back over it after it dries to do those lines, and I might actually go a little bit thicker. Now we'll take some pigments. We'll use Russian earth. So I cut a straight piece to go right down this edge. Now we'll try to fold this in half. And so I put my ruler over half of it. Then with my straight razor, I just lift that up, and it gives me a little fold. Okay, I'll give you a close-up look at the roof so far. All right, well, I've made a fresh pot of coffee, and Now I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the roof, and then we have some dormers to put on here. Okay, well, as you can see, the shingles are done. I have not weathered these yet. I still need to go in with the markers and do some individual shingles, but there's dormers that get put on each side of this tower. And then we have some dormers to put on the front of this, and then a dormer on each end. So I found all the pieces for the dormers. We have these for the tower. They're larger. Then we have the smaller ones. And then these are the front where the windows fit in. Now we have two large ones for the dormer, or for the tower. And on another piece, we have the other two. So don't get concerned that maybe you'll see this piece and think that, oh, I'm missing two of the fronts. Well, you just have to take some time and look through some of the other pieces, and they are on here. So I have all the pieces stained that we're using for the dormers, and I did the same stain as we did on the walls. I now have to find the windows. The windows are all laser cut, and I'll find the ones that we need and I'll paint those to match. Okay, so I'm working on the dormers, and let me show you what they look like. Now the window frame itself is made up of 3 pieces. You have your inner window frame, then you have one that's half that size that goes on the top, then you have the outer frame that runs around the outside of the window. You then add 2 pieces of trim that are a 1/16 of an inch thick, square, and then you glue on your clapboard sides. Now again, the windows are laser cut, which I absolutely love. I love laser cut windows. But don't assume that they're plastic. So when you're trying to find your windows, don't look in the bags that have the plastic windows, because they're not in there. They're actually on a sheet that you have to cut out. And then what I did was I filed just with the regular file and put a pretty heavy bevel. It has a pretty steep slant on the back side at the bottom. And then we'll put that on all 4 sides. I'll show you up close one that I already put a bevel on. So there is the bottom side of the window. And you can see the bevel I put on it. Don't forget to take the time to file the edges of the pieces. You'll get these little tabs. Hopefully you can see that. And you want to file those off so it's nice and flat. My dormers are all glued in place, and now I'm just taking some black paint and painting the inside. Just so that the green shingles don't show through the window. So I'm doing the roof for the each dormer. So this is what they look like. And then I am gluing on the shingles while it's flat. And then I cut it even with the front, but then the back I leave a little bit extra, just a little bit, because I can put it on there and I can test fit it. And actually that one is perfect. This one here I had to trim just a little bit, so I want them to fit perfectly. So, and then once they're glued in place, I'll take a straight piece and cap them. Okay, so I've worked through the night. So let me give you an update on what I did. I built this little roof access shed, very simple. It's a plastic door and then two sides and a roof. Very simple to put together. I then did the plaster loading dock, and this comes in the kit. You'll see it's just a white chunk of plaster. It's incredible. It really is an awesome detail to the kit. So what I did was I painted this with chalk paint. I've shown this on the channel before. It is Cocoon. I bought this at Michael's. So I painted the entire casting with this. I then did a really thin black wash over it so that it went into all the cracks. Then I dry brushed the brick and did some dry brushing of the stone. And then took some pigments and a thin brush and brushed along the bottom and along some of the cracks. I'm really happy with how that turned out. All right, we are so close to being done. Okay, next we have to build this little loading platform and the hoist. And they provide a full drawing with measurements and what scale lumber you need to use. So I've got all my wood, and now we're going to stain it, and I am just using aged barnwood. Now, I've never tried this, but I suppose you could. A little easier way of doing it, I guess. Okay, it's a little light for what I'm wanting. So I'm going to take murky brown. Okay, I like the look of that better. I think that works really well with just dipping the wood directly into the stain. So the platform is complete, and I was even able to manage some tiny nail holes. I don't know if that's showing up good, but okay, next we are working on this vent that goes up the side of the building. Let me see if there's a better picture. This is on the back side of the structure, but it gives you a better idea maybe. Okay, so all the parts were in here and I broke them out. Everything is in twos, so you find the two that match, you glue them together, you take a file and file it smooth. Then for the little ribs that are on there, you break out these pieces and you slide those over every place that you see a line. Then we'll paint this like maybe a gunmetal gray and then sponge on some rust. Here's what one looks like put together. And I found out that it takes 2 of these for every line. So you put one on one side and then come from the back side and put another one on, and it completes it so that it wraps all the way around. While I'm waiting for our vents to dry, I quick made a set of stairs to go right in front here. I don't know if it may be in the kit. I didn't take the time to look, and I just knew that it needed to have stairs there. So I took some task board and made some stairs, and then there are railings for each side and they fit on there nice. So now we'll just paint all this, and we'll paint our vents and get everything glued on. All right, well, this is finished. After I get it on the layout, I'll put trash around it, barrels, lots of details around it. Let me quick show you the picture on the box. And again, it is from foskits.com. And we still have 5 more structures to build. You can see the different structures on here. This was such an amazing build. I am just blown away by this model. Everything about it, the instructions, the planning that went into it, everything about it is just simply incredible. The way it was packaged, the box art. This is months and months and months of planning. It's just, I just can't say enough good things about it. It's just incredible. I had so much fun building this. I just absolutely love it. So just to let everyone know, this was at least a 2-week build. I actually had a couple of all-nighters that I spent on this. There's a lot of hours in this build, but totally worth it. I love this kit. Hands down, this is the best kit that Fos Scale has put out so far. So every year they put out a large kit that is limited edition at the end of the year, and every year it sells out. So start saving your money now to buy next year's big year-end kit. You will not be disappointed. All right, well, thank you all so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. Take a moment to subscribe to the channel, and please leave me a thumbs up if you liked the video. And until next time, stay motivated and happy modeling, everyone.